Test 1 2 with some vodka and seeing if the spelling is the correct way. Should say Weasels in a Box, not Exhab Ani Sleew. Let's find out.
Sitting on the park bench, eyeing little girls with bad intent. Snot running down his nose.
Chapter 5. Around the corner, traffic speeds in all directions, splashing foul-smelling, polluted and mud-stained water up and over the curbs. There are plenty of vehicles clod-hopping around searching for spots to nab, meters in time not running out fast enough, double-parked cars with drivers reading books and papers, feigning patience, smoking cigars down to the filter in one of the few places they are still allowed the luxury to do so, waiting for the occasional shopper to pull out of one of the limited legal parking zones. There are hordes of people out this evening, behaving as if they know where they are going. I don't even know where this is going, this chapter. Ooh. One man is sitting on a bench with a wet newspaper over his head. It's been there so long that the black ink is running down the side of his face. He is talking to himself, drinking from his bottle in a disintegrating paper bag. He doesn't seem to be in any hurry. In between sips and mumbled non-sequiturs, he listens to the muffled sound of a three-piece acoustic band through the front window of a coffee shop, adjacent and affiliated with the Middle Eastern Cafe. You look through the window, too. It's a college town, you say to yourself. Music flourishes in the college towns. Many bands playing to a handful of friends. Who's buzzing this week? Who will be the next big thing? And just how many of them actually care? Is it a high number? A low number? Excuse me? I peek around the corner with a bottle of brown soda in my hand. I know I promised not to bother you, but I happen to notice that, while you are standing there in the rain, staring through the window, thinking what you think you are thinking, in actuality, you're not really thinking what you think you are thinking at all. Or maybe you're not really standing there at this moment, looking through that window. Either way, you're not thinking what you are thinking. I take a swig of soda. Is it true? You are just standing there. You are just standing there with barely a thought, enjoying the music. You are watching the many people who are watching the band. They are lounging on the inside where it is dry, sipping coffee and eating pitas dipped in hummus. Most are probably not even looking for the buzz. They are just enjoying the moment, gathered together, listening to their friends and friends of friends playing their set. If any thoughts are in your head, they are probably longing thoughts, or subtle pangs questioning why you can't just walk through that door and begin to talk to the nearest person and just chat. Just chat like any other regular social person. I point at you with the soda bottle. The brown, bubbly liquid spills down my arm. Stay out of your own head. Restrain yourself to only one present tense. I turn to walk away, and at the same time, I don't turn around at all. I stand facing you and simultaneously walk away. I say one last thing. I mean it! I throw the bottle over my shoulder like a fist overflowing with pinches of salt for luck, and I underhand toss it to you like a lobbed softball searching for a full count strikeout. It soars toward your head and lands exactly where you are standing, but moments before you had gotten there. It spins, sputtering in a puddle as you turn the corner and see for the first time the man sitting on a bench with a drenched newspaper over his head. You walk over toward the bench, and when you are standing right next to it, you happen to notice that the man is not wearing shoes or socks. A pair of worn-out black suede boots are sitting on the bench next to him. It could be his hair. It could be his pair. You smile because these bare feet remind you of somebody you have not seen in a long time. You try to push the memory out of your head. You place your hand on the back of the bench and lean slightly inward. You are there existing in this moment, both with and without this barefooted stranger sporting the wet paper hat. Suddenly he gets up to leave, or greet you, it's hard to say. He stands there, not saying a word, staring through the cafe window a few yards away. The two of you are very close, not saying a word. You are uncomfortably silent for some unmeasured length of time. He appears remote and unreadable, a temporary companion who never utters an understandable syllable, and whom you never see again. And then, not so suddenly, he doesn't offer you a drink from his bottle. You don't grab it from him, wipe it with your sleeve, take a small nip, and utter quietly, "Thanks." Suddenly, he gets up to leave, or greet you, it's hard to say. He stands there, not saying a word, staring through the cafe window a few yards away. The two of you are very close, not saying a word. You are uncomfortably silent for some unmeasured length of time. He appears remote and unreadable, a temporary companion who never utters an understandable syllable, and whom you never see again. And then, not so suddenly, he doesn't offer you a drink from his bottle. You don't grab it from him, wipe it with your sleeve, take a small nip, and utter quietly, "Thanks." I wanted to read that again because I screwed it up the first time, but not enough to actually reread that whole chapter again. But this chapter is really important because it sort of sets up the very meta the work that I'm doing in this book, and it actually encompasses a lot of the other plays that I had written, and the whole book sort of, besides playing with time, which I like a lot, I have a play called Living in the Present Tense, which all happens out of order, and in this chapter he talks about the I talking to you about staying in one present tense. And that's sort of a theme of mine about how sometimes the imagination or the remembering of the past becomes more your reality than what actually happened. And I coined a term called Simulticity, which is more about the idea of being at a place and having strong feelings while you were there, and then when you go back to that place, it feels like that same thing is happening to you again, but in the present tense. So basically there's sort of two timelines happening at once. And then that last thing I just read again is my friend Connor Callista, who is a neo-futurist, wrote this play about all the things he didn't do for his father, but he structured them in a way as if he was doing them. So I really like that. So that whole last section is about the idea of the things that I should have done, but I don't do, like because I'm too afraid to speak out and talk to people, because I'm actually incredibly shy. If it wasn't for the band, I probably wouldn't know like 80% of the people that I know in the world right now. So that's my thoughts tonight, and that was the end of Chapter 5. Thank you for listening. Bye. Also, the correct backwards spelling of Weasels in a Box should be Exob ni Sleseu. I forgot the S. Sleseu. Xab ni Sleseu.